What's going on, everyone? It's Adam Rich, and today I wanted to talk to you about the difference between being rich and really rich. And not just because of the clever name of the podcast or whatever. It's not just, kinda. I guess that's kind of where the idea came from, but I really wanted to dive into like what exactly I mean by being really rich, because I'm sure a lot of people might see the name, see the term really rich and think that it's 100% only about money. And it's not at all, actually. To be honest with you, the idea of being really rich, that could mean money for some people. It's honestly, it's a mindset. It's not about one specific thing. It's not about like when people think of being really rich, obviously they think of a lot of money. They think about wealthy and being able to buy whatever you want, travel wherever you want, do whatever you want. And that could be true for you if that is what your ultimate primary goal is making money. And I'm not against making money, obviously. I think if you are against making money, you clearly ain't all there. So, but no, it's more of a mindset about how you feel about where you're at, or what you have, or what you are trying to accomplish. Because in my opinion, in my view, from what I've seen growing up, being really rich can mean a lot of different things, but you define whether or not you're really rich. That's the thing. Like, you can be rich, and I don't want to overuse this word over and over, like, too much. It's my last name, so I hear it constantly. So I'm not trying to be annoying with that word, but it is relevant. It is very relevant, because I think everybody on earth wants to be rich in some way, depending on what it is you're talking about. And let me be clear. If your only concern is making money, you're on that grind, you're on that hustle, you just want to make that money, and you just wake up, from sun up to sundown, I'm out there chasing that paper, all this stuff, whatever line you want to come up with, whatever phrase you want to use in life to like get out there and get after it, that's fine. But being rich is way more than just money. It is a mindset. When you think of being rich, you think about having a wealth of what's the right term to sum it all up? I'm trying to think here, because it's not just about money, and to some people it is, and if you're one of them people, that's fine, because ultimately this is all going to circle back to having an abundance, okay? That's basically, I guess, what being really rich is. It's having a wealth of things, a wealth of ideas, a wealth of health. It's a wealth of good things that you care about. Honestly, that's what being really rich is having an abundance of things that you generally care about. It's not just about money. It can be to you, but it's not just about that. Like, for instance, to me, having me and my family and the people I care about most in the world being healthy, that to me is way more important than any amount of money. You could say, if you came to me and you said, listen, I will give you the most money, if it was like a genie, if I rubbed the lamp and all of a sudden, Robin Williams or the new Will Smith version comes out and he says, I'm going to grant you 3 wishes, you might want ultimate amount of money. You might want the most amount of money. But I'm telling you right now, if that same genie came out and he said, listen, I will give you all the money in the world. I'll give you you'll be the richest person in the world, financially speaking, money-wise. You'll be the richest person in the world, but your family members and all the people you care about will have horrible health and soon will die off and soon will get sick and be injured and just be horrible in life. Dude, you can have that money. I don't care how much money it is. You can have that money. I've never wanted people I care about to suffer for my own personal gain. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that only care about themselves, and that's the only thing that they want is they want to make money, and they don't care who they hurt in the long run, or they're willing to sacrifice their ideas, their principles, their goals, and all these things just to make money. If that is you, if that's what you want, listen, you got to be prepared for the alternative. You got to be prepared for what comes with it, is what I should say. You got to be, if you're willing to sacrifice all those who you care about. Like, there's plenty of people out there that are multi-millionaires or billionaires and they have children and they don't even know their names, or they don't spend any time with them, and they're never in their lives. They never visit them. They're too busy being business entrepreneurs and things like that. Listen, if you're the type that you want to travel the world and be an entrepreneur and run your own business, but then you also want to have a family, but you neglect your family, that's selfish and shitty. That is really bad. It's terrible. Listen, I'm all about being an entrepreneur and being successful. I hope to be huge and successful and make money and make a living and all this good stuff, right? I hope to do all of those things. But I'm married and I have a child on the way, and I really do value that. I really do care about that tremendously, infinitely more than I care about any amount of money in the world. So while I do have my own goals and dreams, ambitions, whatever you want to call it, while I do have my own things that I want to be involved in and do, and I want to help people, and I want to shed light on some ideas and knowledge and things, and I want to learn myself, and like I've always said, this is not just a one-way street. It's not just about me only teaching people like I know it all, because I don't. I want to have an open line of communication. I believe that the only way to get down to truth and facts is to hash out ideas and differences. If I believe something differently than you, either A, one of us is right, or B, neither of us is right. We can't both be right, right? So, but that doesn't necessarily, if you're wrong, that doesn't make me right. And if I'm wrong, that doesn't make you right. Sometimes we can both be wrong. But what I'd like to see is I have my own ambitions of trying to help people and like teach people things that I can help them with, because listen, everybody's good at something. I have my own things that I'm very good at, and I'd like to help other people learn and get good at. That's part of why I'm doing this too, because there are certain things that I know about people and certain things that I see and certain things that I've studied and analyzed, and you don't have to have a degree in things to automatically be like to know a lot about them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a math degree, but I'm solid at math. I'm not the best. I'm not like running calculus programs or anything, if that's a thing. But no, I'm like, you can be really, 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 really good and talented and skilled at something and never spend an ounce of schooling doing it. This happens all the time. There are so many good inventors and creators, and they were terrible in school. Albert Einstein was like, I forgot what class it was. Was it history or social studies, or maybe it was nuclear physics? No, he was terrible at something in school. I know it wasn't the physics, obviously, but he was terrible at something in school. He failed certain classes. There was I don't know if it's true or not, there was a rumor that he couldn't even tie his own shoes properly, or he didn't learn to until he was later in life, and he had that crazy whacked out hair, and some say it's because he believed that running a comb through your hair or a brush created static electricity that could kill your brain cells. I've heard all kinds of things about this guy. But he wasn't brilliant in every category, and he was brilliant in some areas that he never had a degree in. Leonardo da Vinci, we all know him to be a phenomenal painter, right? He was an amazing painter. Most people don't realize he was an extraordinary inventor. He was kind of a Renaissance man. He was great at a lot of things. Did he have degrees and everything? No. You don't have to. That's the point. Certain people are, for instance, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, whoever's your favorite basketball player, whoever the best basketball player is in your mind of all time, do they have a degree in playing? No, I mean, they've played and they've shown their talent. They were talented at something. They didn't have to go to school and like master a course and like get 90% plus on their final exam to become good at basketball. They're just naturally gifted at certain fields. Justin Bieber became huge when he was a little kid because of his amazing talent with singing and playing instruments and stuff. Did he get a degree? No, he probably still doesn't have a degree in anything, right? But he's amazing. He makes money. He's an entrepreneur of his own life, and he does things. You don't have to have a degree to be amazing at doing something, and you don't have to have a degree to be extraordinarily knowledgeable in things. Like I know a good amount about running a business and owning a business, like a company of some kind. The problem is the things that I want to control, the entrepreneurship that I want to be involved in, has nothing to do with a storefront or a building. You know, like there's things that I'd like to get involved in also. Like I have my t-shirt company that I'm trying to get, not just t-shirts, clothing, I should say, but it's really starting with t-shirts and hats and things like this, hoodies and things. But that's all stuff that I'm starting to dabble in, and I'm doing my own creating. I'm not calling somebody else to do it for me. I've always liked drawing and being kind of creative. The first 30 years of my life, I was super lazy and never wanted to get involved with anything. I just want to sit around, play video games, hang out with my friends, drink, do whatever, you know, like just have fun. That's all I cared about doing for the first like 30 years of my life, was just having a good time, right? And it slowed me down dramatically. It really did. And I can personally attest to that. I don't need a degree to teach you that. I don't need to be a master, to have my master's degree or some kind of a doctorate program just to show you and explain to you how bad it is to dick off for 30 years, you know? Like, I had some fun. I've made some friends. I had some great experiences. I've had time. I wouldn't change anything, because the way my life is right now is amazing, and I love it, and I wouldn't change any of it. I am extremely grateful, extremely blessed, and I feel gratitude every day to be alive and experience life. And like, I've learned that, I don't want to say recently, it's always kind of been there, I guess, but I'm focusing more on it now, that instead of feeling like you have to do something, if you're physically and mentally able to do something, you shouldn't have the approach of, I have to do this. Like, I have to take the garbage out. I have to do the dishes. I have to mow my lawn. If you're physically and mentally capable of doing these things, you should be extremely grateful that you get to do those things. And I don't mean you should be grateful like, hey, it's time to mow the lawn. I'm grateful I get to mow the lawn. But you should be grateful in your core that you're physically able to. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference. I don't mean you should be grateful and you should be so extraordinarily happy that it's time to wash your car, or it's time to I don't know, do homework, or it's time to take this final exam. I'm not saying you should be grateful for the exam, or grateful for the homework, or grateful for the yard work. What I am saying is that you should be extremely filled with gratitude that you're physically and mentally able to do those things. You know what I mean? And that's the difference. That's the difference, though. I'm delving more into that lately, is that I am grateful for the experiences that I get to. Like, I get to do this. I don't have to do this. Like, there's days where I'm like, oh, you know, maybe I should maybe I should make another video. Maybe I should do this. And sometimes you're not in the mood. Sometimes you don't feel good. Sometimes you have a headache. Sometimes you're busy with other things. But the reality is, the fact that I'm able to do these things, the fact that we're living in a time where I can teach these kinds of things, put it in a video, put it out on YouTube, and share it with the world. I get to do that. You get to do these things. You don't have to do these things. Now, there are things like you have to go to work, right? Like, if you're not doing what you absolutely love, and even when you do sometimes, even when you are doing things that you love, sometimes you're just not in the mood. You know what I mean? And sometimes you don't want to do those things. And it doesn't mean that you hate it, or you dread it, or it's the worst thing, or anything like that. It just means that sometimes you're not in the mood, and sometimes you don't feel like doing the stuff. But the idea, that the feeling that you get to do these things, that you have the ability to do and accomplish certain things, just fills me with gratitude. And I'm just trying to appreciate that more. I'm trying to get that out. I'm trying to share that with other people. It really is a mindset. It really is. It's not something that you can just wake up out of bed and be like, yay, it's going to be a great day because I said so. Sometimes you can feel like that when you wake up. Other times you're like, oh, I need my coffee. Nobody talk to me or look at me until I've had like 3 coffees and an hour's worth of being awake. You know, like, sometimes you just don't want to be around people. Sometimes you don't feel like being around people. And listen, I'm not there's people that have depression and things, and they can't control this stuff and all that. I don't feel like a person that has depression, but I do experience those types of feelings where sometimes you just don't feel like it. Sometimes you're just down. Sometimes you're not in an uplifted mood. Sometimes you're just tired. Sometimes, and I'm not trying to diminish people that have depression. Like, that's a serious thing. People, and I wish anyone that has that, help in seeking whatever medicine or meditation or whatever thing you can do to help get past that or get through it. You know, that's what I hope for you to do, you know. And I'm not trying to make light of it. All I'm saying is I don't consider myself a person that has that experiences depression. There are moments when I'm, not happy, or there's moments when I'm not, like, or there's things that will make me sad. There's things that will bother me and stuff. But I'm not generally the type of person that wakes up and maybe 2 or 3 days a week I'm just down and out every day. You know what I mean? Because I genuinely feel gratitude for things. I feel grateful that I'm in good health and that I have good, caring people around me that I love and I care for. And you know, even though I have this job, you know, I have a job that is not my favorite, I still get to go to a job to make money that I can provide for my family. And that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, it might not be my favorite place to venture. And I wish that I was doing other things to make money. But the reality is that's where I'm at currently. And I'm grateful at the sense that I get to do something that will provide me with a means to get by in experience and enjoy life and pay my bills. And, like, look, if I didn't have that job, I can say all the nasty things I want about that place. But the reality is, if I didn't have that job, I wouldn't have this house. I wouldn't have this setup where I can do these things. I wouldn't have the internet to be able to do these things. You know, there's so many things that, like, that snowball into others. There's a trickle down effect, right? And you can go back as far as you want. Like, I could say that I'm so grateful that I have this job because it provided me with this, and I'm so grateful to have met this person because they introduced me to that job, and I'm so grateful to have met this other person because they introduced me to that other person, and I'm so grateful that I have the parents that I have because if they didn't do what they did, I wouldn't be here. And you know, you can trace it back. You can keep going. You can go all the way back to the beginning of time. I'm so grateful that the Big Bang happened, or else I wouldn't be alive billions of years later or whatever, right? So you can literally, there's no shortage of reasons to be grateful. There really isn't. And now, whether you're a religious person or an atheist, you can be grateful. You don't have to be hateful. You don't have to, if you don't believe, like, personally, I believe in God. I've made that very well known. But if you don't believe in God, you still have reasons to be grateful. All right, even if you don't feel like giving him credit or you don't believe in that or whatever, if the fact that you're alive, the fact that you're here where you are, the fact that you're able to view this shows that you obviously have some form of technology. You're not in some third world country. You're not living in some slummy area of the world where you're starved for food and water and shelter. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have that going on, obviously, or you wouldn't be hearing this right now. You wouldn't have access to the internet. So, I mean, we have so many wonderful things in life that, like, really, it puts you in perspective of like the things that you have. Like, listen, man, I don't have some huge, massive mansion. I don't have yachts. I don't own an island. I don't own a private jet. None of those things, right? But to me, that's not what makes me really rich. I do feel like I'm really rich, not just rich. And obviously my last name, I don't mean by my last name either. I'm not saying because my last name is Rich. So I'm always going to be rich, right? But that's not what I'm getting at. That's not at all what I'm talking about. If you have tons and tons of money, well, then you're really rich with that, right? If that's where you want to go with. For me, it's more experiences and non-financial things, non-monetary things. I have a house, which means I have shelter through the elements, whether it's cold, hot, rainy, snowy, whatever it is, right? I have a home. I have a shelter to live within to keep me from the elements. I'm not sleeping out in the sticks in a forest or anything. I'm sleeping in a nice, decent-sized bed with nice bedding, in a nice warm house when it's cold out, and a nice cool house when it's hot out. I have a couple cars, even if you have just one. If you have transportation at all, you have a form of getting to and from places you need to go. You don't have to walk everywhere, which limits how far you can actually travel. I have a vehicle that will get me places and get me to work so I can make more money, which I can pay off the car, which will allow me to go back to work more. And if it breaks down, it can be fixed and things like this, right? I have transportation, regardless what form that comes in, whether it's a Lamborghini or a hoopty. Like an old 70s gremlin or something, if that's even the year they made them. But no, the point is, like, when you put certain things into a different perspective, you'll realize it's not just about money. It really isn't. And if the only thing you give a shit about is money, then you have the money to buy you all those other things that you're not appreciating, like a house and cars and vacations and furniture and food and things like that, right? If you don't care about none of that and the only thing you care about is money, well, if you have a lot of money, and in turn, if the only thing you care about is money and you have a lot of money, then you're really rich in that sense. You're really rich in the sense that you can go buy things that you want. You can go buy and do whatever you want, right? But the point that I'm trying to really stress today is it's not just the money. Like there are so many more things in life that are beyond, way more valuable than money really is. Like I said, I have a lot of family members that I really care about. The ones I really care about are really healthy, like the people, not just family, but people, friends and family and acquaintances and neighbors and things like that, right? The people in my life that I genuinely care about, especially including my little Boston Terrier, Brady, a little 4-year-old Boston. They're everyone that I care about and everyone that I love is generally pretty healthy. You know what I mean? Like I don't have a lot of family, and knock on wood, I don't have a lot of family members on their deathbeds. I don't have a lot of friends and things that are dying off, luckily. And I know that can change at any time. I'm not throwing that in anyone's face. I'm not bragging about it. All I'm saying is I'm just trying to acknowledge, I'm being self-aware. I'm trying to acknowledge the fact that there are things in life that are infinitely more valuable than money, and I really, really care about them, and I'm blessed with a lot of those things. I have decent health myself. I have really good health myself. I'm not trying to say it in a boasting, arrogant way. I'm just saying that I'm extremely, extremely grateful for that, and I'm acknowledging that it is a thing. I'm not overlooking it. I'm not taking it for granted. I'm not taking advantage of these things. But to have a home, I don't want to say a house. It could be an apartment. It could be a trailer. It could be a mansion. It could be whatever it is. I have a home, and I'm grateful for that home. I have vehicles. I'm grateful for those vehicles. I have a loving and caring wife, a beautiful, wonderful wife that loves me and cares about me, who's pregnant with our first child. I'm grateful for these things. Our child in her womb right now is healthy. I'm grateful for those things. Money doesn't buy that. Money doesn't buy your general, not just gratitude, but your attitude. Gratitude and attitude. Money doesn't buy your perspective. Money doesn't buy your attitude. There's plenty of people I know who have next to nothing, but they're just so grateful to be alive and healthy and It's messed up, man. I went to San Diego back in February. It was the first time I ever gone there. And there are a lot of homeless people there, right? And it's a beautiful city aside of the homeless people. But even the homeless people, like most of them are nice. It's so weird because I'm from just outside Detroit. When you go to downtown Detroit and you run into some bums, they're aggressive. I don't mean attacking. It ain't like The Walking Dead out there. But what I'm saying is they're not shy. They will certainly ask you for stuff. They have no problem asking you for stuff. And I think a lot of that is mainly not because it's of what city it is, but I think it's the location in the world. It gets cold in the winter, man. They got to act quick. They're salesmen out there in Detroit. They're not waiting around for you to offer them some love. They're out there trying to earn it. They're entrepreneurs, They're not very successful ones, but they're entrepreneurs nonetheless. And I shouldn't say successful, but you know what I mean. They're not rich, money-wise, financially. They're not that kind of rich. But when I was out in San Diego, you got some out there that are just they got their own shopping. And listen, I'm not trying to say it's great to be homeless because I'm sure anybody who is definitely not thankful or not happy about it. But their attitude is different, I guess is all I'm trying to really get at. I'm not trying to insult or fluff any of them, but their attitude is different. There was literally, when we went, no BS. We went to this donut place. I can't remember what it was called, but we got this massive, tried a couple of samples of donuts, and we had this massive one. It was this huge one. It had whipped cream and some strawberries on it, and it looked phenomenal. But after we ate the other ones first, we didn't even feel like eating the other one. The big one. And we had a lot of walking to do that day, and it was kind of a warm day. Even though it was February, it was 78 degrees that day. So we had a lot of walking to do, a lot of exploring to do. We didn't want to be just stuffed and full of donuts and carbs and all that crap, right? And trust me, I'm not shy on carbs, but when you got a lot of walking to do and it's a hot day, you don't want a lot of carbs. I don't. It's rough. It's miserable. So anyhow, we're walking around. And at this point, I don't want to just throw the food away. It's perfectly good. We didn't touch it. We didn't eat it. Nothing, right? So I got this big box with this big-ass donut in it. And we're walking down the street, and I said, what I want to do, just to be nice, is there's no shortage of homeless people around here, or no, and I'm not going to eat it. I don't want to throw it away, so I want to give it to one of them. So I'm walking by, and there's a couple of them. Some of them are looking pretty wild out there. Like, some of them look like they're definitely on something. So I veer away from those ones. I don't want to be involved in a potential serial killer thing here. I don't want to be involved in anything like that. So, and plus I'm trying to protect my wife. So I'm like, I'm not trying to, anyway, long story short, we're walking down the street. We run into a few stragglers here and there, but one guy's coming towards us. He's kind of like, he's not looking too unhappy. He's not looking super great, super happy, but he's looking like he's got he's got an upbeat walk to him, and he's got his shopping cart, and he's got all kinds of things or whatever. And anyway, I'm walking towards him, and I go, "Hey man, I got this donut in here. Do you want it? We're not going to eat it, and I just want to give it away. It's perfectly fine, hasn't been touched." And he goes, "What is it?" And I said, "It's a donut." And I lifted the box up, and I showed him this donut, which looked amazing. And he goes, "Oh no, that's okay, man." He's like, I don't want to eat that stuff. And I was like, huh? Like, if it was Detroit, they would have taken it. I could have literally dumped all over it, and they would have been like, yeah, I'll just pick all that off. I'll eat the other stuff. But in San Diego, and now there's another story in San Diego too. This one's even more like pretentious than this guy. He didn't want it at all. He said, no thanks, just let it go. And so what I ended up doing is, after this guy, I didn't run into a whole... I don't want to say that homeless people are scattered everywhere. There's enough of them to notice, but they're not like constantly everywhere. You know what I mean? So anyway, after this, I was like, well, dude, we got to all right, he didn't want it. He didn't want a donut. So he's watching his figure. He was a skinny guy, but it was just crazy to me that there was a homeless guy that was turning down food. Like, and there was a strawberry. He could have at least ate the strawberry, but he didn't want none of it. He was like, nah, I'm good. Thank you, though. And I was like, wow, okay. I've never in my entire existence, until these two events in San Diego, I've never experienced any time where a homeless person has turned down food. I've never seen it. So anyhow, I mean, because even then, dude, you could I don't know what the system's like. Maybe it's like prison. Like, maybe you could barter with it. Maybe you could say, listen, I'll give you this donut. You give me the speakers over the stereo speaker. I don't know. But my point is, he said no. He didn't want it at all. He didn't even want it to toss away or to hand off to somebody else. He just straight up said, no, I'm good, thank you. And he was nice about it, and he kept going. So anyhow, we get to this corner where there's like these garbages, but they got like tops on them, so it's not like garbage sitting out. So anyway, that donut's sitting in the box, and I set the box on top of the clothes. I set the box on top of the garbage thing. Enclosed in a box. It was fine and nothing weird. And I set it on top of there, and me and Sandy left. We just kept walking. And somebody probably got it. I don't know. Maybe nobody did. I don't know. But all I know is this. He turned it down. He wanted nothing to do with it. And it sat, that box sat there until we left sight. Like, it sat there until we were gone. Like, nobody tried to get it. And I was like, wow, that's so weird. So anyway, about a day or two before that, because we were there for like, what was it, 4 or 5 days, was it? Something like that? 5 days? Anyway, while we were there, maybe it was like 4 or 5 days. Anyway, 1 or 2 days before this, me and her went out that night, or a few days, but we went out nighttime. And we were looking for food, and oddly enough, this is what I did not know about San Diego, is if you're in like the downtown area, there's barely any places to get food after like 10 p.m. It's so strange. It's not like Detroit. Like, you can find food anywhere in Detroit damn near at 10 p.m. New York, Las Vegas, any of these major cities. I was just shocked that we could not find food. We were walking all over the main downtown gas lamp district, whatever they call it, and we couldn't find food anywhere. Well, so this other homeless guy comes up. This is the only one, the whole time we were there, the only one that actually approached us asking for something. All the other ones just kind of let us walk on by. They didn't care. They just let us do, they were doing their thing, we were doing our thing, and they were so non-aggressive. In Detroit, you walk by 5 of them are asking you for something. You walk by 12 of them, 12 of them are asking you for something. You don't really make it very far without somebody being like, hey man, I'll sell you this American flag pin for $5. It's like, well, I don't want it. And he's like, all right, $1. And it's like, well, no, I still don't want it. He's like, all right, can I just get some money? So, but down there, they don't do that. At least not to us the whole time we were there. So anyway, this other guy, finally one guy though, at nighttime, right? We're looking for food. This guy comes up. Oh man, my nose. This guy comes up and he says to us, he's like, or he says to me, he goes, hey, can you spare some money for food? And I was like, in my head, I was like, man, I don't know. Like, listen, I'm all for being charitable. Like I said, I was trying to offer the donut. Anytime we had extra food, I was trying to like hand it off or whatever. But we didn't have any food, and I wasn't about to stand there outside with this homeless guy that could do anything. Like, I don't know what he's willing to do. He might be willing to kill me to go in prison and get a nice night's rest with 3 cooked meals for all I know. I don't know, and I'm trying to protect her too. So I'm just trying to like avoid this situation, not at all. So he says, hey, can I get some money for food? And the first instinct was, I'm sorry, man, I don't have any money on me. I didn't have any cash on me. Like, because I was going to use my credit card. And he's like, you don't have any money? Now he's being a dick, right? He goes, you don't have any money? And I said, no, man, I only carry a credit card. And he's like, dude, I just want a burger. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, now I'm pissed because he's like confronting me about it. I'm like, dude, I don't have cash on me. And so... But then I felt it was weird. He's looking at me, he's like, really, I can't, I just want a cheeseburger. And now I'm like, I'm sorry, man. And I turned around and we walked away because I was pissed now at this point. I'm like, dude, you asked me 3 different times in like 10 seconds if I just give you something. I said no the first time. Like, stop bugging me about it at this point. Like, and especially to give me that, you don't have this. Like, you don't know what I have. I don't know what you have. You know what I mean? So at this time, I'm like kind of pissed. So I was like, all right, well, whatever. So I walk away. And I mean, like, not even 20 seconds went by. I felt like horrible. Like I did. And I told her, I was like, I told Sandy, I'm like, man, I feel terrible. Like, he just wanted food. He didn't even really ask for money. He just flat out said, will you buy me a cheese? I think that's what he said. I don't even think he said anything about money or cash. I think he said, will you get me some food or something? Or will you give me food or something like that, right? And like, the instinct was, I don't have any cash on me. I'm sorry. And he's like, you don't have any cash? And I was like, no. And so, but anyway, the point was, he didn't come at me like, hey, can I have some money? He didn't do that. He came at me with like, hey, I'm hungry. And like, it ate at me for like the next 5-10 minutes, right? And within 20 seconds of walking away, I was like, oh, I should have just did. But I couldn't even find food for ourselves. We were out looking for food, and I couldn't find it. And I wasn't about to just, like, hand over some cash or start pulling money out of my pocket or pull anything out. I did have some cash on me, but I didn't want to do that in front of, like, out at nighttime in front of this guy. Who knows if he would have stabbed me and took all my money. So I was like, no, I ain't got no food. I ain't got no money. But what I told him is I had a credit card, which I did. I also had that, too. So now when we walked away and I don't see him, like, I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling terrible because I'm like, man, this guy wanted food. And he was a dick about it. Like, he had a weird approach about it. But at the same time, he asked for food. He didn't ask for money. I should have just bought him food because I have a firm policy on this. If you're homeless and you're just begging me for money, I don't know if you're going to go spend that on booze, cigarettes, drugs. I don't know. So I don't give money like that. But if you come to me and you're like, man, I'm starving. Can you please just buy me a sandwich? I will do that because I know that if I get you a sandwich, there's only one thing you're going to do with that sandwich. There might be some other things, but I don't want to know about those. But no, you're not gonna spend a sandwich on drugs. And if you are, man, more power to you for, wheeling and dealing the trade business like that. Because homeless people, maybe they have a network like that. I don't know. But what I do know is that when you ask me for food and you say you're hungry, my genuine response is like, man, I should help this person get some food. Like, they're hungry. What if I don't give them food and then I find out later they died because they starved to death? You know what I mean? Like, I could have been the guy that at least held them out for longer. Maybe somebody else comes by and helps them, but I didn't do that. So I felt horrible, right? So finally, me and her are still walking. We're still looking for some place to eat. And finally, we stumble upon this pizza place that's open. One place that was open that served pizza. And surprisingly, nobody was in there. I don't know why. I mean, maybe the place is horrible and we just didn't know. But we did end up getting pizza, and the pizza was good. Maybe it wasn't really, I don't know. Maybe they're should have been shut down for their cleanliness or something. I don't know. But what I do know is this. We got the food. We got the food, and there's these big, huge pieces of pizza. And I thought, we're sitting down eating, and I told her, I was like, you know what? If we see that guy, I'm going to take it as a sign. If we see this guy one more time, I'm getting him food. You know, like I don't know where he's at now, but if we see him anywhere else, because now we're in somewhat of a popular area, but there's nobody in this building. It's just like they're out at like clubs and things, because there's a bunch of like clubs and bars open, but there's no like restaurants or food places open. So anyway, we see this one pizza place, and there's people around like going to bars and all that, but when we're in there, you know, I told her when we're sitting down, I was like, you know what, if we see that guy one more time or any time, I'm buying him food. I'm stopping what we're doing. I'm getting him food. And I'm not even kidding. Within, like, I don't even know if I finished the sentence. And that guy comes popping around the corner. Didn't come talk to us. He just come popping around the corner and walked past us. And I was like, there's no way, and trust me, I did not say it loud enough where there was any chance that this guy could have heard me. Because one, it's a little bit louder outside anyhow. And two, I'm not screaming that. And three, the guy was around the corner, like where he couldn't even see us or anything like that. So I told her, as soon as I said it, she looked at me and she smiled because she was like, you know, that's a sign. And I was like, yeah, I got to do something. So I didn't even look at him. I didn't say nothing to him. I went right back in that pizza place because we were eating outside right in front of the building. I go back inside. I order another big-ass piece of pepperoni pizza without saying anything to him. And I come back out and I go walk right to him with her because he's somewhat kind of close. So she's right, you know, she's kind of right there anyway. And at this point now, when I come out, he's still standing in that same spot, but these other two guys that look like business guys are standing there talking to him. So I walk right up in front of these three guys, one of them being the homeless guy, two being the business guys. And I walk right up and I go, hey man, I felt bad about earlier. I got you a piece of pizza. And he looks down at the pizza and he looks up at me and he goes, oh, I'm sorry, I can't eat that. And I was like, you got to be kidding. I just went and got you a pizza. I was like, no, dude, it's for you. I'm not going to eat it. I just went and got this for you. And he's like, I understand that. And like, kind of with an attitude, but then he even tells me this. I've never heard this in my life. I swear this is true. I swear it's true. He looks at me and he goes, I understand that. And I appreciate that you went and tried to do that for me, but I can't eat that. I have a gluten allergy and that pizza will tear my stomach up. And I was like, dude, it's free. And he goes, I understand that. I can't eat it. And I was like, all right, man. I was like, I tried. I'm sorry, man. And he's like, no, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I just can't. So he ended up being nice about it, but he said he had a gluten allergy. I've never, in all my years of existence, ever heard of any homeless man being able to afford to have a gluten allergy. You know what I'm saying? Like, the guy had a doggone gluten allergy for gluten. He couldn't eat pizza. Now, mind you, this dipshit asked me for a burger, which last I checked, burgers usually have buns. Maybe he would have threw the bun out. I don't know. But this guy, this is how pretentious San Diego is, and I love it. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying pretentious in an awful way. Usually it is. But this is how, like snooty even the homeless people are. This dude looked at it like I was a freaking, like, an a-hole. Like I was trying to poison him. And he was like, I can't do that. And so anyway, after he says, I appreciate it and I can't eat it. And I was like, all right, man. One of the two business guys goes, like, here, he's like, how about this? How about I pay or buy the pizza? And I said, let me stop you right there. You can have the pizza only if you give him the money for it. You can pay me, but give him the money. And he said, yeah, deal. I was going to do that anyway. I'm like, yeah, sure you were. And yeah, take my idea and act like it was yours. Good for you. So anyway, so this other guy that I don't know got to eat the pizza, but at least he gave the money to the homeless guy. And listen, if that guy went and bought a couple of toots and OD'd that night, that's on him. I tried to give him food. So it's not on me at that point. But I could not believe this dude. I offered pizza to a homeless guy, and he said, I got a gluten allergy. I offered a doggone, like a basketball-sized donut to another homeless guy. He's like, I'm all set. I'm like, what are you guys eating and where are you eating? Because I'm tired of paying $48 for 2 slices of pizza. I want to eat what you guys are eating. You know, like, you guys are alive. You're picking and choosing what you want to eat. I've never seen that. You could offer a homeless guy a turd in a hot dog bun, and they'd be like, gotta eat. You know, put some onions on there. It looks like a chili dog. Sorry. I'm sorry. I ain't trying to be gross. I'm just saying, man, it is insane. It is absolutely insane to think that a homeless dude was like, nah, I'm all set. I got other shit to eat, you know? It's insane. But anyhow, my point is there are different levels of what you will appreciate and what you won't appreciate in life. And it's all about your perspective. It's all about your mindset. It's not, you don't necessarily have to have money to be really rich. And that's what I'm trying to get across to people. I don't believe for, like, financially wise, I'm not really rich. I'm not Oprah Winfrey money. I don't have Bill Gates money. I'm not a prince of some country. I'm not really rich financially. I'm not super wealthy. I'm not a multi-millionaire, right? That would be awesome, but I'm not. But I still feel really rich. That's the point, man. That's the whole point. Because of the experiences, because of the love I have, because the things that I value most in life, for the most part, I have those things. And I don't say that bragging. I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I'm saying it to use examples to show what I'm talking about. Like, I have a home. I have shelter. That's amazing to me. Regardless if it's a tiny little cardboard box off the side of the highway, or if it's a giant, if it's the biggest mansion in the universe. I have shelter against the elements in Michigan, which is huge because, let's be honest, if you live in San Diego, you could live outside or indoors. It's about the damn same. So it's so nice there. It's so nice there. It really is. Shout out to San Diego, by the way. Love you guys out there. I literally consider that basic. I've only been there one time, and I basically consider it my second home. That's how much I love it there, and I would love to be able to move out there and just keep it up. I'll still be rocking the D, baby, and the Detroit hat. Got him. But anyway, the point is, and I have transportation. I need transportation to get around. Now, could I walk places? Absolutely. Can I get farther places away because of the transportation that I have? Absolutely. And I'm so grateful for that. I have good health. My family has good health. My dog has good health. Everyone, like the people I care about most, have good health. And that to me is super important. I have food. Like I obviously I'm not the skinniest guy. I have food on my plate when I need to eat. You know, the people I care about, my wife, my dog, my family. We have food. We have shelter. We have transportation. Like there are things in life that are infinitely way more important than money. Money can buy you stuff, but that doesn't buy you health. It doesn't buy you appreciation. It doesn't buy you gratitude. It doesn't buy you a positive attitude. All it does is it buys you items, which eventually get old. Now, I'm not knocking it. If you have money and you spend money on all kinds of crazy shit that you don't need, more power to you. At least you experience it and you see what that's like. To me, you should you should say that you're really rich based off of how happy are you in life? That is what makes you really rich. I have good relationships. I have a positive attitude. I appreciate things. I'm grateful for things. I truly feel absolutely blessed. These kinds of things make for a really rich life, a really rich environment. And that is huge, man. That means more to me than any amount of money on this earth ever will. Now, will I take money with it? Of course. But I would never sacrifice health for myself and the people I care about in order for money. I would never do that. And I know that there's a lot of people that cannot honestly say that. They can't. Some people will just say it. But I'm talking about in here. Do you really mean that? Are you truly grateful for what you have? Are you living your dream? Are you living the dream? Because I say it all the time at work. Like I say it when I go out, I'll be like, oh, I'm living the dream. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm living whatever your dream is or this person's dream or that person's dream. I'm living my dream. My dream is like, for me, what I like in life, what I want, and what I appreciate, what I'm grateful for. I have these things, and I'm so incredibly grateful for them. Now, is there more things that I want? Of course there are. There's always going to be more. Like, whatever it is that you have, you're always going to be like, all right, well, what don't I have? It's our human nature to try to focus on like, well, I have this already, so let me just check that off and throw it back here. Let me move on to what I don't have. It's always like a checklist of like things you don't have that you're trying to achieve, whereas that's where people screw up. Instead of always, like, instead of saying, oh, I want this car. I bought it. I got it. Cool. Throw it back there. Now I got to focus on getting this thing that I want. And I got to focus on getting that thing that I want. And this thing and this thing. We're always chasing things that we don't have. And it's fine to do that to some degree. But you should always, first and foremost, prioritize your love and appreciation for the things that you have. That is where being happy comes from. That is truly why I believe that I don't have depression. It's not because I feel like I was just lucky enough to not get that chemical imbalance. It's that I've had great parents, like my parents have been phenomenal with like raising me to appreciate things, raising me to acknowledge when you have something good, be aware of how bad things can be, analyze things. Like look at the fact that there are people that have nothing and then think about all you do have. It's impossible to be negative and hateful towards the things you have if you're looking at people that have way less. If you look at starving kids in other countries, even in inner cities and stuff, not even in inner cities, just anywhere in the world, it doesn't have to be a place, just in the world. You look at starving people, people that have no water, people that have no shelter, people that are like living out in the environment where they don't have huts and things. And even if they do, if a tornado or a hurricane or something comes and it just wipe it all away and it could kill half their family, famines and disease and just like living in filth and there's just so many things that you take for granted because you're always constantly thinking about what you don't have and how can I get it? And it's really killing people, man. It tears your mindset up. It leads to depression. It leads to a dark place. It leads to negativity because you're always thinking about what you don't have. And that's a negative mindset. Now, I'm not saying don't ever think about the things that you don't have, because obviously if you want to accomplish or achieve goals, these are usually things you haven't achieved or accomplished yet. So in that aspect, you have to plan, but don't look at them in a negative way and be like, man, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this. Because then you're just living this negative life of like, oh, poor me, poor me. I have a mansion and I have a Ferrari and a yacht, but you know what I don't have is a girlfriend, or I don't have a house in New York, or I don't have my own island, or I don't have a private jet. Well, that's all right, whatever. What do you have? And have you thought to yourself how many people in the world don't have it? Like that is what I'm getting at with really rich. Being really rich is a mindset. It's not a financial number. It's not a position in the company. It's not how much charity work you did as opposed to this guy. Now, being charitable is a really rewarding thing, but if you're only doing it to get recognition, joke's on you, dude. I can't stress that enough. If the only reason you're doing nice, positive things for others is for your own self-recognition, that's a sad, pathetic way to live. It really is. And that might be the only reward you ever receive, is the recognition. And it's like, that's not really rich. Even if you have billions of dollars. If you, and a perfect example of this is somebody who I know most people know who I'm talking about, Robin Williams, right? Most people know who Robin Williams is. He died last year, the year before-ish, somewhere in there. Time flies so fast. It might be 10 years now. I don't know. But Robin Williams was super well-loved. Everybody, I don't know, one person was like, I hate Robin Williams. Everybody loved him. Everywhere he went, people knew who he was. He was famous. So he had tons of love from everyone, tons of fame, tons of money, tons of success, tons of appreciation. He always made people laugh. People just genuinely loved being around him. And God bless him, he killed himself. And it's like, he had money. He was rich. He was rich with life. He was rich with fame. He was rich with obviously money and love and power and influence and all these things. Like, people everywhere he went, people just loved him, and they lined up to be around him, and he was always smiling. But he didn't have it all. He obviously lived in a very dark place inside. He didn't show it. I don't know of many people maybe a couple people knew that he was just eaten alive inside. But whenever you seen him on TV, whenever you seen him in movies, whenever you heard him talk, you were like, man, this guy is just loving life, and he's just so grateful and appreciative of everything, and he loves people, and people love him, and he's got it all. And he didn't. He didn't have it all. He wasn't really rich. Not with love and passion and appreciation and gratitude. He wasn't really rich. The only thing he was really rich in is fame and money. And making people laugh, and like the love that he got from other people didn't do it for him. It didn't matter enough to him. And like me, I look at it like this: like if I had his kind of money and fame and influence and the love that he received from everywhere he went, dude, I mean, I'm grateful for everything I have right now. If I had all of that extra, I think I'd be overwhelmed with gratitude. I don't even know if I'd be able to I don't know if it would even spill. I don't even know what I would do with it. I don't even know what to say about it right now. Like, that's the thing, man. You got to find out in life what it is you're really searching for, what it is that you really, really want, like what's valuable to you. That's what makes you really rich. When the things that are valuable to you in here and in here, when you achieve those things, that is what makes you really rich. It's not the money. It's not the influence, the power, the position in the company. It's none of those things. Those things make you what I call materially rich, right? It's a material thing. It's a physical, like a thing you can touch, that kind of being rich. That's being rich. Being really rich is being overjoyed with gratitude for the things that you have, the abundance of value in your life. And when you experience that and you really feel that and you are living positive because of it, man, that's the definition of being really rich. And like I said, what makes me really rich might not make you really rich. Everyone's got it in here. Everyone knows what will make them really rich. Everyone knows what they truly want. And I encourage everyone to do this, because I see this all the time on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, anywhere you go. People are like, oh yeah, man, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to make that money. I want to have my own business and start this so I can make this kind of money. But what is your goal with that money? Like, why do you care so much about money? We're ingrained to believe that nonsense when you're growing up. Like, everything is about money. And in life, the things that make you the happiest have nothing to do with money. Money is just a means to an end. Like, for instance, if the greatest thing in the world that I ever wanted was going to Italy, and I said, man, I really need $2,000. I really need $2,000. Well, is my love for money? Or is my love for, I need to make money so I can go experience Italy? You know, there's a massive difference, man. If ever since you were a 2-year-old, the only thing you wanted was a Ferrari, any of them, a red Ferrari, right? And then you say to yourself, how can I make that kind of money? How can I make this kind of money? How can I make, well, if your life is involved with making money and not about getting that car that you wanted since you were 2, then you're focused on the money. But if your whole mindset is, I need to make more money so I can buy the Ferrari because the Ferrari is the thing that I've always wanted, then once again, your focus is not on the money. It's the money is the means to the end that you're trying to get to. You're trying to get to that Ferrari. Now, I hate to use material things, but this is the only way I can really relate it to when I tell people that you can get money, you can desire money, but there's got to be a purpose with that money. Everyone says this, man. I hear this all the time. You see these fake-ass entrepreneurs and things on Instagram, and they're just motivational speakers, and they're like, here's how you can get your first million. If you do this, you can get it by this age. Dude, what do you need the million for? That's what's up, man. That is where I'm at. I am desperately trying to encourage people, get the nonsense about money out of your effing head and focus on what really sets you on fire. What really gets your mind going, dude? Like, listen, I don't even know how much money, thousands of dollars or whatever, to build my computer and get my microphones and cameras, and I needed to do a bunch of research to position myself in a way where I could get to start my podcast and start making videos on YouTube and start building a brand and all these things, right? I needed money to accomplish the framework to start, but my goal was never to chase money. I've never gone to work and thought, man, I need to work this weekend so I can get that money, man. Like I might think what I will do is I'll think to myself, I might need to work this weekend so I can get this extra money because I really want to buy this, and on a normal 40-hour paycheck, I can't buy this. So I need to work the weekend so I can make extra money so I can put the extra money in the bank so I can save this money and so I can buy this. That's different, man. That's a whole different mindset. And I can't stress it enough. Certainly not in one video. But I just want to get this through to people, man. The idea of being really rich is not about money. It's not. You can be really rich with money, but what are you using that for? Is it just like I see that guy Dan Bilzerian, right? He's like a billionaire. Yeah, right? I'm pretty sure he's a billionaire. And he's youngish. I think he's around my age. And he's out there, like, every time you see him on Snapchat or Instagram, he's just out, like, living up all these things. Like, he's out with all these women at like, this turtle farm and, like, zip lining and on this private jet and all this. And it's like, I think I would love to sit down and talk to him because I don't know him. I'm not accusing him of doing one thing or the other, but sometimes when you see these videos, it looks like an empty life. And I'm not saying he has that, because he might just be doing things that he's always wanted to do, and now he's got the money to do them. But if your whole goal is to make a lot of money just to dick off with that money, then, dude, that's such an empty waste of life. I don't want to say that's what Robin Williams did, because I definitely am not speaking for him or anything. But my point is, these are the things. These are why you can be successful and rich and all these things and still be miserable. Like, and I'm not saying Dan Bilzerian is, and I'm not saying that's what happened with Robin Williams about the money thing or whatever, but what I am saying is that just because you chase the money and just because you gain it doesn't end your misery. It won't. Money never, ever, ever will end your misery. Money, I've said this 1,000 times, I'll say it 1,000 more. Money only gets you items that eventually pass with time. Or you can use your money to do like, this is the only exception I've ever really found in my life. Maybe there's more. But if I told you that, man, I really want to travel the world, I really want to experience, I want to see China and England and Germany and Africa and Brazil and all these things, right? I want to see all these places. Well, you need money to do that. You basically can't just hitchhike your way there. I mean, I guess there is a possibility, but the point is, if you're like, man, I want to make this money so I can do this. Listen, if I was a billionaire and I was able to travel and see all these things, I would do those things. But there's still a purpose. There's got to always be a purpose in your life, or you're going to just fall by the wayside. You're just going to blow through some money. You're going to live, maybe party it up. Maybe you do all these crazy things you always wanted to do. But if there's no real drive, no real purpose, there's no real gratitude for something, for a passion, for a desire to accomplish something, then what is the money for? Just buying stupid items like a Fabergé egg. All right, it's just a doggone decoration. It just sits there on a dresser or something, right? They don't do nothing, but they're like super expensive. And it's like they get to a point where they only make things that rich people can buy, and only rich people will buy them because it's only for rich people. And it's like, that's a brilliant scam. Like, I should just make up my clothing line. I should just make it up and like charge like $800 for a t-shirt. And people will be like, why is this t-shirt so expensive? And I'll be like, well, it's for rich people. Only rich people buy them. So it's only for rich people. Like, it's a brilliant scam. However, I don't think it works for everything. I think you somewhat have to be brainwashed or have so much money you're just like, yeah, screw it, why not? Like, if I seen the movie Arthur, not the newer one with Russell Brand, that one was dumb, but the old one with Dudley Moore, highly encourage everybody to watch that. It's one of the funniest movies ever. Dudley Moore is brilliant. But there's a scene where he goes into a department store. It's like Nordstrom or something. It's like some famous fancy place in New York. And he goes in there and he's just casually and like not even happy about it. He's just like, he even says to the woman behind the counter, the woman helping him, he goes, I want you to give me 9 of these sweaters, all green. And she goes, all green? And he goes, I don't wear sweaters. Like he was just buying. He had so much money that he was just buying stupid crap that he didn't even need, that he wasn't even going to wear. But he just had the money, so he's like, screw it, I'm just going to spend it. Why not? And man, there are so many better things. Like, dude, if I won that lottery, that big jackpot, well, there was a big one, the 1.6 billion that just happened with the Mega Millions or whatever. But now there's the Powerball one. It's up to like 620 million or something like that, right? If I won that, you can bet your ass half of that money is already gone with charity. And I don't mean just like half of it's going immediately right into one specific charity. I want to branch it off. I want to do research, find out what charities are legit, because let's be honest, there's about 8 billion charities now, and half of them, it's all like it's just like write-offs and money for them. And like, I remember that ice bucket challenge, the ALS one, people were dumping their buckets of ice over their heads and all that, and then it turns out the guy that like started the foundation was taking like 80% of the money and putting it in his own pocket. It's like, what a joke. So people are donating all this money for a cause, and the guy's like pocketing more than half of it. It's a joke, man. So I definitely don't want to do anything like that, but I want to help every single person I love and care about. I want to help legit charities that will legitimately, I might even start my own charity. That might be actually a thing that I do, is start my own, if I got that kind of money, obviously. I don't have that kind of money right now, so the only charity I could do is probably start up like a $20 lemonade stand or something. Man, I just want to help people, man. I've always kind of wanted that. I just didn't know how, and for 30 years I dicked off and didn't care to learn how. And now I do care, and I'm actually doing something about it, and it's an amazing feeling, man. This is why I feel gratitude, because I'm able to do these kinds of things. It's not an arrogance thing. You can do these things too. Whatever it is that you love doing, whenever you got a minute of spare time, spend that minute doing that, practicing that. If you got 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, if you got extra time and you're just kind of bored or whatever, or eliminate some of the nonsense, like sitting home watching CSI or watching Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy and stuff. Like, stop watching these and actually focus your time and effort into being something, being what you want to be, and doing anything in your power to move yourself forward in the direction that will help you. It's extremely important. I can't stress it enough, man. I really can't. And I encourage everyone to do these kinds of things. It's huge. It really is. But I don't know, man. I just wanted to get this out here because, I think that with my channel and my Instagram, my all this stuff, the podcast, everything being called Really Rich, I think some people can get the wrong idea what that means, and don't get it twisted. That was kind of intentional. You know what I mean? Like, I knew that when I used that name, one, it had something to do with my last name. So I wanted something that had to do with my name, something that I could physically like brand my name around. Because listen, I didn't choose my name. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't make I am who I am, but I didn't get there all 100% on my own. And to have a last name Rich and know that everyone on earth wants to be rich in some way, it just felt perfect. You know what I mean? And so I wanted to use that in some way to help other people, to influence people, to garner attention, obviously, to use the name that's been given to me to mean something, to do something with it so I can help other people with that. And the one thing that I found in life that everybody wants is to be rich. And I don't mean my last name. That's awesome too. But no, everyone wants to be rich. And 99% of that everyone wants to be rich with finance, with money, millions and billions. I seen this guy the other day. He had a t-shirt, and it said billionaire in big letters. And then underneath it said in the making. And I loved it. I was like, oh, this guy's out. I love the shirt, billionaire in the making. But then I thought that this is kind of what triggered it. I thought to myself, I'm like, this guy is wearing a shirt that says billionaire in the making. And that means that obviously he's shooting for becoming a billionaire. Now, it may never happen for him, right? And he knows, I'm sure he knows that. I'm sure he knows that it's probably never going to happen, because the chances of you becoming a billionaire are ungodly like slim. It's very rare. Even in today's world where people are richer than ever. But I thought to myself, I'm like, man, there's so many people that only give a crap about money. They think that that's just going to solve all their problems, and it's not. You know what solves all your problems? Gratitude and appreciation. That solves your problems. Every problem you have, you can always look at a positive that comes with it. I've said this 1,000 times. Every single situation on earth has a negative and a positive. You have to make the decision on which one you want. You can look at it in either one of those ways. Anything that happens to you, if you don't believe me, give me comments, comment below, find me on Instagram, find me Snapchat, Twitter, anywhere, right? And comment, tell me. Please tell me if I'm wrong on that. Because I firmly believe that. I really do. Every single situation has a positive and a negative. You just have to choose which one you're looking at. Look, if you break up, say somebody breaks up with you and it just kills you, it just destroys your heart, right? You can look at it like that. You can look at it as like, I can't believe that person left me and I care about them. Or you can look at it as, man, this person obviously wasn't the right one. And now I'm set free to be on my path to find the right one. You know? And because I've gone through that in the past, long time ago, not with my current wife. I love her to death. I would never want anything to happen to her. But in the past, I've gone through that where I've had me and an ex split up, and I thought to myself, and like almost immediately, because of gratitude, this is the game changer, people, I'm telling you. Because of gratitude and appreciation for what I have and for the blessings that I believe God has given to me and just the way my life has gone, I don't believe that just because it was over with that one person, that my life was over and that my existence was meaningless and that my future was gone. I don't ever think that way, no matter what happens. And listen, I'm not asking for bad shit to start happening to me. I definitely don't want that. My point is you have to get past the negative part, and that's the immediate one, right? We always go through this where the first initial blow that's negative towards you, that's the first thing you can think of is, wow, how does it? Like if I lost my job tomorrow, I'm sure the very first thing I would think of is like, oh man, what am I going to do to make money? I mean, I got a kid on the way. I need insurance. I need this. I'm sure that would be the very first thought. But eventually, hopefully very, very early on, I would immediately think to myself, well, I'll find another job. I don't think that it's over. That's my point is I never think that it's over. I never think my chance is done. I never think I'm counted out. I always think that there's a next step. If you end in failure, that's just think of it as halftime. There's always another part. There's always a next step. There's always a second part of that. If you fail at something, that's just halftime. You're down right now, but you got plenty of time to make it up. That's how you have to approach everything. And if you have a positive, grateful, you have gratitude if you have gratitude and a positive attitude, then those two elements and faith that you're going to be something, that you're going to accomplish more, that you're never over, you're never counted out. You're down, but you're not out. Okay, it's like a boxing fight. You might have got knocked down. Get your ass back up and go take them out. It's hard when you only think of the negative. It's almost impossible to pull yourself up. But if you're positive and your attitude is nothing can stop me, you may knock me down. This battle is yours, but the war is mine. You have to have that mindset. You have to. If you want to be successful, if you want to listen, if my podcast never gets huge and I only have like 100 followers and no subscribers and nobody ever listens to me, I'm still going to feel the same way I do right now. I'm not done. I'm not out. I'm never counted out. Nobody can stop me but me. You know, if you feel like you failed and it's over for you, then you're right. But if you feel like you can keep going and this is just a minor setback and you know that you can achieve more, you're also right. It's all how you feel. It's all a mindset. It's all an attitude of gratitude. That is the thing, man, an attitude of gratitude. It's a beautiful thing. I don't know why it took me this long to think of that. But I don't know, man. I just wanted to get that out there with people. I just wanted to express this because it is a legit thing, man. It's a meaningful thing to be appreciative of what you have and be positive and think highly of yourself. And no matter how bad the situation is right this second, you will always come out on top if you believe that it's never over. It's not over. Your life is not over. The end is not there until you've made it. You know, that it's power, man. It really is. But listen, I'm going to get going. This is a phenomenal talk. I'm glad that you guys were here. I did want to ask a question, though. The question of the day for this topic is, how rich are you? And I don't mean money. Maybe money. If that's what you care about, that's fine. How rich are you? How rich do you feel? And what are you doing about making that happen? I want everyone, please comment, let me know. Find me in some way and let me know. I love you guys. I cannot thank you enough for being a part of this. I'm glad to be with you on this. I'm glad to be communicating with you. Please communicate back. Let's make this happen. I want to create a global network of everyone just being able to. I know that the internet kind of beat me to that, but I want everyone to be on the same. Man, I just want to be able to help is all I want. I believe that there is a positive approach to everything. I believe that no matter how big your problem may seem, no matter how negative it may be, I believe there's a way out. I believe positivity always wins the day. Virtue, happiness, positivity, gratefulness, gratitude, and being kind and nice and having empathy for others. That is the ultimate success. That's what makes you really rich. I'll see you guys soon.